given to so many different looks. And now with pressure, Brady to the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown. The backup tight end, 3rd and 7. And here's Brady, lobbing it again with a flag out. Hogan has the touchdown. First down from the 41, and look at Brady. Deep ball.
Hey guys, and welcome to this week's Fantasy Football Review. We've got a lot to get to today. We have 3 new records from a 2-week season, but 3 new records this week, so let's hop right to it. First of all, average score overall has increased by a few points, but why this is particularly impressive is because of all the injuries that happened last week. So we have a lot of handcuffs and second stringers that are taking over this week, and we still have a bump in our overall score. So last week it was an average of 106.1, and we're up to 111.19. So that's pretty cool. What is interesting is even amidst, really because of all of those injuries that we saw to our first rounders, the average first round score went from 15 to 11.9. And so that helps bear out a little bit more what's actually going on with all of those starters being out. Now, where that changes a little bit is if we take out injuries such as like Jordy Nelson this past week, who got a 0. And we bumped that average up a little bit to 13.4. But overall, we're still sitting below the average of 15 from last week. So, some interesting numbers just to kind of trace throughout the year. Some of you are interested and some of you don't care. And for those of you that don't care, here we go with the warts. A record this week, we have a new largest margin of victory for AP's beatdown, and that is yours truly over Brian with 54.6. Handling business this week and getting to be able to pass out some pain of my own this year instead of getting whipped up on last year. So exciting on that. That is a new record. Last week it was 51.6. This week it is 3 points higher at 54.6. New record for close shaves. So last week we were at 2.3 with Kirsten over Jeremy. This week we have a 1-point reduction on that with a 1.3 point victory of Isaac Gaskin over Christina Nisita. And right behind them is a 1.6 with Nick over Jeremy. So things are getting a little bit tighter. I think some of those zeros coming out from those injuries and actually having points is making things a lot tighter. Now, last year we had a 0.01 victory at one point and a couple others that were also just 0.1. So they can get a lot tighter than this. But we're only in week 2. Another record then with the Settle Sun Award, the highest scoring team is yours truly at 168.2. I, for a long time, thought that I had just tied Greg, but he had 167.2 last week, so I am up on him by 1 point. That is the highest scoring team for this week and for this year so far, but that can certainly change very quickly over the next 14 weeks. Next up is the Totally Tanked, the lowest scoring team. At 64.7, Jason is the one from last week. What did I do? Oh, okay. I know. Alright, so this week with our Totally Tanked, last week it was Jason with 64.7, who bounced back in a phenomenal way to 114.7 points this week and getting a victory. So for this week, our lowest scoring team would be 79.4 with Isaac Nisita. It's a rough week for you. You had a couple zeros in there, I think, or at least one. Just make sure you hit that waiver wire and pick up some of these guys who are bouncing back to fill in all these holes. So 64.7 stands as the record for the Totally Tanked with Jason, though. But Isaac, he bounced back, so maybe you can as well. Next up is our biggest bust. This is our lowest scoring first rounder, and again, there's some confusion because of injuries. So technically, Jordy Nelson's the man this week. Tom and Isaac Nisita, that's I'm sure part of your Totally Tanked. You guys suffered this week with Jordy being down. But however, if we're going to talk about who actually played, that would be Team Hello Adam McBee with 5.8 points from your first round pick of Cam Newton. Now, you can say that he scored points and David Johnson is not, but yeah, 5.8. biggest bust this week would be Jordy Nelson and Cam Newton. On the other end, again, then is the Golden Boy, the highest performing player. And this week it is Tom Brady. I know. I tried to put him down, but you wouldn't like Tom when he's angry. And there's a distinction between pouting and angry, and I think he moved beyond pouting this week to angry. Yeah. And so we have Tom Brady as the highest performing player this week with 33.8 points. So that's pretty intense. And let's see how far it is above. The next lowest or next highest on would be 32 points with Michael Crabtree. So Tom Brady getting it done over and above all these other running backs, even in a PPR format, which is kind of scary. So I'm praying that he continues that or gets hurt. I'll take either end of the spectrum. But that is your Golden Boy this week. Tom Brady is on top. So that's all for this week. We did have some more injuries.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
So that's it for this week. Thanks for stopping by again and checking it out. And again, please let me know in the comments below on either YouTube or in the City Post if you enjoy this, if there's anything that you'd like to see happen in our league. But other than that, we'll continue on to week 3. See you guys later.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.